For the large-scale breeding kennels, it is Michigan Humane Society's great hope that all of the animal industries that are actually housing animals in an industrial sort of setting, like we do, like animal shelters do and pet stores do, we feel that large-scale breeders are the same. We feel that we should all be providing a basic level of care to the animals that we are housing because we're an industry, whether we're selling them or adopting them. These two purebred Chihuahuas were housed at Michigan Humane Society. These two dogs don't know whether they're at a breeder or a pet store or at Michigan Humane. They all need basic food, water, care, and that's what this bill would do. Animal shelters and pet stores are already registered and regulated by the Department of Agriculture, and we have Regulation 151 that we follow for the care of our animals and our conditions that we provide, and commercial breeders are not registered. So why do we need breeder regulation? We feel strongly that Michigan consumers want to know that when they purchase puppies from purebred breeders, that the animals are back at home that are producing the puppies have adequate care. Breeders keep animals for their lifetime, not just for a short period. Animal shelters and pet stores have animals for short periods of time in confinement, but breeders tend to hold on to animals for their entire life while they produce puppies from them. Nothing wrong with that, but there is the potential for conditions to decline, especially in very large-scale settings where there's lots of dogs, kind of unseen and unknown. And what we want to prevent is waiting until something is prosecutable as an animal cruelty before good measures could be put into place to make sure everybody's following some basic care guidelines. We don't want to have to wait until cruelty. So I'm going to show just a few pictures of two recent cases, and Senator Hansen, your question about how frequent is this is a good question, and I think I would say that we have to look at frequency, but we also have to look at how egregious these cases are and how much they overwhelm local government and local communities and local animal shelters when they happen. That's kind of another thing to take into account. So these dogs are from a case this year that Michigan Humane Society helped with. These are Jack Russell Terriers. There were 169 dogs, so I'm starting in the northern part of the Lower Peninsula here, Missaukee County. This breeder had 169 dogs. He originally was in Berry County, where he had 200 dogs, but he moved to Missaukee County. Missaukee County has no animal control, so there was absolutely no oversight whatsoever. As you can see, it is a large-scale operation. This is just a picture of a piece of it, thanks to the ASPCA, who helped investigate as well. We actually had to have national help with this case. And the ASPCA is here, and we'll talk more about this case. But I just want to say that it would have qualified if SB 560 had been law. This breeder had more than 81 intact breeding females, and so would have the regulations would have kicked into place for this person. So the animals lived in, it's kind of hard to see on this slide, but that's about 2 inches of mud mixed with feces and urine and straw. And there is no dry place in those kennels. They lived in the sun in the summer and in the snow in the winter, completely outdoors. And as far as Michigan Humane is concerned, that's unacceptable for any dog, but for animal industry, of course. As I said, Missaukee County does not have animal control. The local Humane Society, Missaukee Humane Society, is a very small group. They were completely unprepared for a case of this size. They were unable to come and testify today, but they did submit a letter, which is provided to you for your perusal. So they reached out to us, Michigan Humane Society, the ASPCA, and Roscommon County Animal Control worked together to assist with the removal of the dogs. Unacceptable conditions for any dog, including commercial breeder, animal shelter, or pet store, and it could have been prevented. So then I want to move us down to the west side of the case. Last year, 2012, this one was all over the papers and the news. So you may have actually seen some of these images. And luckily, we have the group that handled all of these dogs here who will talk more specifically. They're the best one to speak to you. But I just want to give a brief overview. This broke in April of 2012. There were nearly 400 purebred Shih Tzu and Pomeranian dogs and puppies seized from a breeder in Allegan County. They were crammed into a rural home and a pole barn out back. If you look at this animal's fur, those kind of mats in it, those are feces, and they've grown into the fur and the skin. The puppies are exposed to this as they nurse on the animal that lives that way. Those conditions, some of the dogs were not even really recognizable as dogs, like the one on top. They're matted, filthy, rotted teeth, and their jaws had become infected and rotted. It takes months and years for this to develop. All the dogs were actually eventually repaired, recovered, and adopted from this case at great expense by the community and by many groups who worked together.